Hi again. This is the last video of the tutorial web scraping. This is a part of the course Digital Economy and Data Analytics. My name is Eik van Vuren, and in the previous videos we have already been looking at some elements that are necessary in order to do web scraping on a, I would say, real website, which was called the BOVAG website. We have already been looking at JSON code, and also we have been looking at how to use URL info in our web scraping process. But take into account that at the moment that we more in particular are going to look at what we have done in the previous video, is that even though in this previous video we have already made, say, a program that can actually get for the different car brands, these car brands that are listed over here, as well as for the very first 100 websites or the first 100 pages of these different car brands that we have over here. We can actually get the, say, links, the listings of the different cars of these car brands that we have over here, and we can even store them into Python. We more in particular can store the HTML into Python, as well as that we can create an instance of soup with respect to this HTML code. We should also still take into account that this particular, say, code doesn't generate us anything yet. So therefore, in order to really do the web scraping, we still need to do something in addition. That is to say that more in particular, what we need to do is that we need to do something with the data that we put in soup, not just creating an instance of soup. But we still should do something with respect to that. And then in addition to that, we also need to know how many pages there are. And what we do right now is that we simply look at the first 100 pages with respect to any of these brands that we have over here. But take into account that these are pretty large brands, and because of the fact that there are many cars actually listed on this BOVAG website, there are probably many more than just 100 pages for any of these brands that we have over here. So what we would like to have is not just the cars that are listed on these very first 100 pages, but we would like to have all of them. So the question arises, how are we going to do that? Well, let's actually start with the first to-do thing that we have in our to-do list, and that is this thing that we have over here. However, on the way, we will also be able to solve this second problem that we have over here. Well, in order to solve this first thing here that we have over here, it actually implies that we have to do two things in addition. That is, first of all, that we have to get all the car links from the pages, and in addition to that, we also have to extract the data from the car links. Well, take into account that the second thing that we have over here, that is a thing that we have already done actually, because of the fact that remember that at a particular moment in time we were looking at our JSON code of this particular website. Well, more in particular, we were looking at a particular car. Remember this Yaris car for which we had the JSON code, and from that we were able to extract data from that particular car. But take into account that in that sense that Yaris was not very special. We could actually do that for any kind of car as long as we have the car links. So as soon as we have the car links of the cars, then we can also extract data from that. And that implies that what we're going to do is that we are going to focus now actually on this first thing that we still have to do. So let's now focus on actually on one particular issue and or one particular detail, and that is that we are going to look now only at Toyota, and we are only going to look at the second page of Toyota. The reason why I'm going to do that is because of the fact that I don't want to make the things immediately too difficult. In the end, of course, we're interested in looking at all the different brands as well as all the different pages, but let's not make things too difficult right now. And that implies that we are going to focus right now just simply on the brand Toyota, and we're only going to look at its second page. We do already know then that the URL that we have to look at is actually this URL that we have over here, where we have as a brand name Toyota, and we have here a 2 for the second page. Well, then the second two lines that we have, the two lines that we have over here next, we should realize that these are exactly identical to what we had before, because of the fact that these are exactly equal to the lines that we have already here. So that is actually nothing new. But what we still need to do, of course, is that we need to have all the different car links. How do we get that? Well, one thing that we already know of is that at the moment that we would like to look at links in HTML, is that we have to look at blocks that start with an A. So that implies that if we would like to get the links, at least all the links on a particular page, is that we're going to use soup and then do find all, and then we simply are going to look at all the blocks that we have in our website that actually start with an A. That implies that now what I am going to get is a list of all the links that I have in that particular page, and this particular page that we have over here. Well, I have actually done that, and I found out that these are actually quite numerous because of the fact that there are 200 links on this particular page. But we should take into account that most of them, they're actually completely useless. And the reason behind that is because of the fact that, well, this is a real website, and that implies that one of the bad things with respect to real websites is that there are usually many links on a particular website. Not only the links that you're interested in this case the car links, but there are many other links, for example, to ads, for example, of particular, say, dealers that are related to BOFA. Or maybe there is some additional information of how to repair your car if you actually have a broken car. These are all kinds of things which might at some stages be very interesting for you, but not at this moment in time because of the fact that here we are only interested in the car links. So that implies that what we need to do is that we have to filter from these all these 200 links that we have now in this this list links that we have over here. We only want to have the car links. Well, that actually can be done. And the reason why this can actually be done is because of the fact that we should realize that at the moment that we're going to look at a particular car, we do already know that actually from our Yaris car, then we do already know that any kind of link that is related to a car actually has two different words. It first of all has auto, which is just a car in Dutch, and it has aanbod, which is supply in Dutch. So therefore, only if a particular link actually has these two words in it, then at that moment in time, we can actually use that as a car link. So that implies that we're going to run through all the different links. So we're going to create here a for loop that is going to go over all the different links. And here link is an iterator, but we're only going to use those links as car links at the moment that in the, say, href, so in the URL, we do find this text that we have over here. So that implies that we start here with an empty list, which is called car links, and then we are going to append that, well, with the links that we actually find in the total set of links that we have over here, but only those links that actually have in their URL this, say, these words that we have over here. That will actually give us our car links. So that we can actually do in a function. So well, what we can do is that we can do this, of course, for this particular URL that we are going to focus here on, but we can do that, of course, with any kind of URL. So therefore, we are going to make a particular function which we call cat car links, which has as an argument the current URL. And then what we're going to do is exactly the same things as what we did here. We first of all are going to get a request from that particular URL. We are going to create an instance of beautiful soup, which we call soup. Then we are going to find all the different links. And then we are going to make a, say, list of car links that actually only has the real car links because of the fact that these are only those links that actually do have in their URL these words that we have over here. And then we return those car links that we have over here. Well, we can do that then, for example, with respect to Toyota. So then what we're going to do is that we now have car brand is in this case Toyota. Then what we can do is that we can start with page number 1. So we start actually with the very first page. But now instead of using the for loop that we have seen before, when we were over here, then we had a for loop well, actually iterating over the very first, say, 100 different websites, that is not what we're going to do right now. Instead, what we're going to do is that we are now going to use while true. This is actually a while loop. We haven't talked too much about that, but this is also a way in which we can actually run, say, loops into Python. But in this case, we are going to say like, well, we are going to do this, as long as this thing that we have over here is going to be true. Well, it's actually true itself, so that implies that this will actually go on indefinitely. This will always go on forever, unless, of course, we break it at a particular moment in time. And that's exactly what we do over here. Well, we could then, first of all, print here the search page. It's not that important, of course, but here we essentially print out the page number in order to know at which page number we are at a particular moment in time. Then we are going to get our URL. It's exactly the same as what we did before when we did our for loop. Then we can, of course, still print it. And then what we can do is that we can get the car links from our function that we have just introduced at the previous slide using this current URL that we have just created. And then we should realize that we are going to do this on and on and on, of course. We are going to increment the page number. So the first time we actually do it for the first page, then we get this URL over here. Second time we do it for the second page, then we get this URL over here. We can go on and on and on. We can do this 100 times. It actually goes on and on and on. But take into account that, actually there are, of course, not indefinitely many page numbers over here. At a particular moment in time, suppose that there are only 500, say, pages for Toyota on this BOVAG website. That means that if I get to the 501 page, so at the moment that the page number becomes equal to 501, well then at the moment that I'm going to do if I'm going to try to get the car links over here, well, there will not be any car links, because of the fact that we should realize that this is just a website that doesn't exist, which means that, for example, this request will result in something which is completely empty. This will just result in something that has no HTML code by itself, which of course implies that the car links that we are going to, what we are going to return over here is just an empty list of car links. So therefore, at that moment in time, do you already know that we actually already went too far? We no longer have more Toyota cars in this particular case. So that implies that here we can actually have a break statement. At the moment that there are no longer car links, then we are going to break out, because of the fact that then actually we are done with this particular brand Toyota. Well, just to secure that this will sometimes, this might of course not end at all. In order to secure that this always is going to end, we're also going to include this, say, condition that we've over here, that we are not going to look at more than 999 different pages. That implies that at least we are, well, the time that we are going to do this web scraping is not going to be too long, of course. And then what we can do is that then, essentially what we do here is that we essentially do nothing else as printing all those car links. And this actually gives us, in the case of Toyota, it will give us actually 7,500 car links in total. Well, now we should realize that we still should do something with respect to the information, of course, with respect to a particular car. Well, we do already know how to do that. So therefore, let's assume that we do have a particular function, get car info, which takes as an argument this car link that we have over here. And in the end will give us as a return a dictionary data type that gives us all the information that we want with respect to a particular car. Well, then we can look at that into a particular function now. Now we're going to get the function get brand data, which actually gets as an argument car brand, which is either, say, Audi, Toyota, or Kia. And then based on that, we are going to get the information of a particular, say, brand. So what we start with is an empty list over here, and what we then simply do is that we are going to, well, add that list, that brand data with respect to the dictionaries that we actually get from, say, the car links. So this is exactly the same as what we have seen before, but now we are going to do a for loop over the different car links, and we are going to then get the info from the particular car link based on this function that we have over here, and we are going to append that into our, say, very long list of brand data. And then if we are ready, then we are going to return the, say, brand data as a list. So that is the whole idea of this, say, function that we then have over here. And then we get to our final program. Well, the first things are just imports, not so interesting, of course. Then what we're going to have is our URL, the full BOVAG. We're going to have our car brands that we're interested in. Of course, if you would like to do that, you could also enter more car brands here. Well, then in addition to that, we actually get our functions like get car links. We have here get car info that we still have to build, of course. And then we are going to have here get brand data. That's exactly the function that I had on the previous slide. And then finally we're going to get here main, which essentially does nothing else as having a for loop over the different car brands. We are going to get the data from those different car brands using get brand data, and then based on that we are going to, well, transform this thing that we have over here into a data frame by using pandas, and then we are going to actually store that into an Excel sheet by using this file name that we have over here, where this file name that I have over here is simply the one that we have introduced over here.